I get a lot of questions about the diagonal pattern, and there's also a little clip on the page about the leg windings, but I wanted to show you again how the diagonal pattern works, because I guess the reason I get so many questions about it is because it's not often described in literature. I'm not even sure if whether it's included in Peter Collingwood's book, but I think it is. This is how it works. This is a row where I need to lift up 2, and I'm working from the bottom to the top. This first thread tells me that, because it came from the bottom to the top. And it's only a single thread, so I should, working in an S twist, no, Z twist as I'm doing right now, should lift up 2, but I'm not going to. The first thread, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm picking up my second bottom thread, pulling it up. First thread from the top going down, and I'm going on as if I'm doing a normal Z twist. Going across to the other side. And there I end the way I began. This one moves down, but the last thread, just like the first, leave it alone. Leave it where it is, in this case the top layer. Okay, pull out my safety line at the bottom. Now for the second row, you look at your first thread, which in this case is a thread from the bottom layer. That means I have to move from the top to the bottom. You move towards that last thread of the last row that you did. But again, leave your first thread alone. So I go for the second. The second thread I pull down. The first one remains in the upper layer. And then I go on as if I am doing a normal, in this case, S twist. We've moved from a Z to an S twist. Oops. There you go. And again, the last thread remains where it is. Again, the first thread of the last row is in this case an upper layer thread. So we want to move from the bottom towards the top. Not the first thread, leave it where it is. The second one you pull up, first of the upper layer goes down, and you go on back to the Z twist. And you can already see what's happening. Leave the last one where it is. Here in the pattern, how one layer is moving to the left and the other layer is moving to the right. It's a lovely expression by Mrs. Sievert van Reesema, who in the beginning, the first half of the last century, was, well, in my eyes, solely responsible almost for rediscovering this technique in the Netherlands. She once said, you got to listen to your threads. They tell you where they want to go. Problem with me, though, is that I sometimes have the suspicion that my threads speak a different language than I do, because I don't always get what they're saying. But in this case, fortunately for me, I do. Again, the first thread of the last row is at the top, so we move from the bottom to the top, leaving the first, picking up the second. And I also know that I'm repeating myself now, but again, it works for me. And if it bothers you that I'm constantly telling you the same thing, turn down the volume of your computer. First thread, last row was at the bottom layer, so we're moving. I'm going on just a little bit further until both sides are equal again. The top layer is always mirror image to the bottom layer, color-wise. So like right now, I have light blue and dark blue on the left. So do I at the other layer of your work. One more row. First one of the last row is the top, so we're going to move from the bottom to the top. And then they'll be identical again, or at least symmetric in pattern, which is always a nice point to go back to an S or a Z twist, where you would keep these lines as they are completely opposite, or you continue where the line would go back inside again and basically make a diamond shape. So that's how the diagonal pattern works. again, it's not as stretchy as S or Z twist, but you can imagine maybe a miniature. If this was a sweater, and this is the bottom of the sweater, the rest of the sweater on top of it, this would work as a waistline because it doesn't stretch out as much as the rest of your braiding. You can really use this as a bottom for your sweater, creating a very functional waistline. It works really well. I've tried it and I've worn it. It's quite comfortable. Again, you can make varieties between this as you change the color combinations, or you make the bands wider, or just try. It's really fun to just put some colors on your loom, start wrapping in different colors, and just see what comes out. Because sometimes what comes out is just a little bit different than from what you've expected. So it's really a lot of fun to do this. At least it is to me, and I hope it will be for you too. Hope you give it a go.